Thank you, ladies. Thank you very much. Now we're going to skip a few hours. But first, we want a little more information about our town, kind of a scientific account, you might say. So I've asked Professor Williard of our state university to sketch in a few details of our past history here. Is Professor Williard here? May I introduce Professor Williard of our state university? A few brief notes. Thank you, Professor. Unfortunately, our time is limited.
Yes, at Grover's Corners, let me see. Grover's Corners lies on the old Pleistocene granite of the Appalachian Range. You may say it's some of the oldest land in the world. We're very proud of that. Shelf of Devonian basalt crosses it with vestiges of Mesozoic shale. Some sandstone outcroppings, but that's all more recent. 200, 300 million years old. Some highly interesting fossils have been found, I may say, and unique fossils. 2 miles out of town inside Peckham's cow pasture. They can be seen at our museum in our university at any time. That is, at any reasonable time. Shall I read some of Professor Gruber's notes on the meteorological situation, rain precipitation, etc.?
Afraid we won't have time for that, Professor. Might we have a few words on the history of man here?
Oh, yes, anthropological data.
Yeah.
Our early Amerindian stock Comanche tribes. No evidence before the 10th century of this era. Now entirely disappeared. Possible traces in 3 families. Migration toward the end of the 17th century of English, Brachycephalic, blue-eyed stock for the most part, and then some Slav and Mediterranean.
And the population, Professor Williard.
Within the town limits, 2,640.
Just a moment.
Oh, yes, indeed. The population at the moment is 2,642. The postal district brings in 507 more, making a total of 3,149. Mortality, birth rates, constant. By McPherson's gate, 6.03.
Thank you very much, Professor. We're all very much obliged to you, I'm sure.
Oh, not at all, sir.
Right this way, Professor. Now the political and social report. Editor Webb. Oh, Mr. Webb.
He'll be here in a minute. He cut his hand while he was eating an apple.
Thank you, Mrs. Webb.
Charles, everybody's waiting!
Mr. Webb's publisher and editor of our Grover's Corners Sentinel. It's our local paper, you know. Well, I don't have to tell you that we're run here by a board of selectmen. All men vote the age of 21, women vote indirect. We're lower middle class, sprinkling professional men, 10% illiterate laborers. Politically, we're 86% Republicans, 6% Democrats, 4% Socialists, the rest indifferent. Religiously, we're 85% Protestants, 12% Catholics, rest indifferent. Have you any comments, Mr. Webb?
Very ordinary town, if you ask me. A little better behaved than most. Probably a lot duller. Our young people here seem to like it well enough. 90% of them come right back here to live, even when they've been away to college.
Now, is there anyone in the audience who would like to ask Editor Webb anything about the town?
Is there much drinking in Grover's Corners?
Well, ma'am, I wouldn't know what you'd call much. Saturday nights, farmhands meet down in the greenhouse stable and holler some. We got 1 or 2 town drunks. We'll throw his head of remorses every time an evangelist comes to town. No, ma'am, I'd say liquor ain't a regular thing to home around here. Except for the message chest, right good for a snake bite, always was.
Is there no one here aware of some...
Come forward, Billy, where we can all hear you. Now, what were you saying?
Is there no one here aware of social injustice and industrial inequality?
Yes, I'm afraid we all are. Seems like all anyone talks about is who's rich and who's poor.
Then why don't they do something about it?
Well, I don't know. I guess we're all hunting like everybody else for a way the diligent and sensible can rise to the top and the lazy and quarrelsome can sink to the bottom. But in the meanwhile, we help those who can't help themselves. And those that can, we leave alone. Are there any other questions?
Mr. Webb, is there any culture or love of beauty in Grover's Corners?
Well, ma'am, there ain't much. Come to think of it, a couple of girls play piano at high school commencement, but they don't like it very much. Well, ma'am, so there isn't much culture. I mean, this is the time to tell you we have a lot of pleasures of the kind around here. We like the sun coming up over the mountains. And we all know it's a good deal about the birds. We all know about them. We know the change in the seasons. We all know that. Those other things, you're right, ma'am. Very much. Robinson Crusoe, the Bible, and Handel's Largo. We all know that. And Whistler's Mother. That's about as far as we go.
So I thought. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Webb. Now we'll go back to the town. It's early afternoon. All 2,642 have had their dinners and all the dishes have been washed. There's an early afternoon calm in our town, the buzzing and humming from the school buildings. Only a few buggies on Main Street, horses dozing at the hitching posts. You all remember what it's like. Doc Gibbs is in his office over there, tapping people and making them say, ah. Mr. Webb's cutting his lawn over there. 1 man in 10 thinks it's a privilege to push his own lawnmower. No, it's later than I thought. There are the children coming home from school already.
I can't, Lois. I have to go home and help my mother. I promise. Goodbye.
Emily, walk simply. Who do you think you are today?
Oh, Papa, you're terrible. One minute you call me names, and the next minute you tell me to stand up straight. I just don't listen to you.
Golly, I've never gotten to kiss from such a great lady before.
Excuse me, Mrs. Force.
Go out and play in the fields, young man. You got no business playing baseball on Main Street.
Awfully sorry, Mrs. Force. Hello, Emily.
Hello.
You made a fine speech in class.